But starting off with the steam engines, we have probably the only shifter in the collection. It's this one, but this one's actually rare because not only because it has the detail where they put the hand railings in, like in this model. Here's a separate tender, but this is where they didn't put on the handrails until probably until 1958 or 59, where they started adding these, and these started becoming really more common on tenders. But this tender is actually very rare, a real grand tender. But the rare version is without the stripes. That's the first year it came out in 1962 and 63. But this tender is from 1963 and 64. And for this one, the reason why this is hard to find is because it's the only Baltimore and Ohio unit and the only shifter have a red cab. And this is not painted. This is actually from a famous set known as the Gandy Dancer, where it had like a utility water car, a gondola, and a bunk car. And it has this engine right here. And this is a really cool unit too. And I also bought this. And I'll show you on the bottom of one of these units too. So. And for the next one, I'm going to be showing you probably one of my other most viewed locomotives. It's a Prairie locomotive, but it's not the Santa Fe. It's the Pennsylvania. And the Pennsylvania Prairies are actually said to be a little bit more hard to find, but the Santa Fe's could be a little bit more common, but both of those could be rare. But with this one, I actually did run this a lot of times too, and I also featured in one of the Prairie Express set of videos, which is really famous. And I'll show you on the bottom for this one. It is a 262 Prairie locomotive, Pennsylvania, and it's all black bottom. It's a little different. I haven't ran the Santa Fe one just yet because I'm trying to work on it and trying to find on it so it can try to look perfect on YouTube, but either really doesn't. For the other steam locomotives on my channel, here's a couple of rare ones. So probably the second most rare one for the video, I'm doing it for mid, is the Roundhouse Go Camelback. And this locomotive is actually extremely valuable, but I didn't know the exact year for this since I didn't capture any of the details about considering what the age of this locomotive is, but I don't know the exact year, so I'm not going to try to take a guess of it. But this is still probably one of the oldest running Tyco Mantua trains that I have. I'll show you the underneath in a little bit of a close-up. Yeah, one side of my thing is light because of the phone is the shadow, but I'll show you up close. And this is a really good unit too, and I also featured in a couple of other videos too. And probably for some other rare valuable ones, probably the most valuable one I'll show you is the Mighty Might. Only came out on one year. It was 1948, and I don't know the reason why Mantua stopped making these, but at the same way, these are actually very valuable to collectors. And I did show the set on YouTube. It was the Mighty Might set. The Roundhouse Code also has a set, but we'll be running it a little later. But here is the Mighty Might, which is undoubtedly the rarest of the Mantua, but it's probably more rare than the Consolidation, the Pacific, and some other those units. But I'll show you a little bit of a close-up here. But I have the case right here, which is also part of the set too, but I'll be careful. I'm not going to disconnect it though, but I'll be careful here. That's my parents making noise upstairs. I'm downstairs. Okay, here's the close-up. I have to be very careful for this unit because it's so rare. Here's the unit here, and here's the underneath bit of it. It's a kit build unit though, but the screen is blurry though, so it will take a while. But okay, here's the view of the underneath bit of this rare beauty. But this is also very valuable to collectors who tries to get their hands on these. But I currently have two of these units, but the other one is a little bit in pieces. But this is the only one in a set. And the set included a gondola and 2 flat cars, and it came with the bobber caboose, the one and only bobber caboose, and it's all Mantua too. So, and I'll put this in the back, and I'll show you a few of my other units too, but it's time and to present some of the larger units, but I'll put a couple stuff away in a second. Okay, from a couple years, probably since the 1950s, Mantua has been bringing out many famous locomotives like the Mikado and Pacific. But I'll show you 2 rare Mikados. Starting with 1948 is the Pennsylvania Mikado. This unit is actually very rare, and it has a couple details on it that make it rare. Even the caboose is actually from the same year from this engine, but I'll show you a couple things. From 1960, they started painting the sides right here white. Some of the other units that have after 1960 didn't paint this entire here, but with some of the older units, they put the white stripe on here. And another detail to find that's actually old is the ladder. Some of the ladders are molded, but this one's actually put on here. It's like a metal ladder bracket here, but this Pennsylvania though, the coal load sometimes gone or missing, but it's actually on here. But with this one though, there's actually one specific detail that they had to switch out because they didn't make this unit a lot because of one specific part. If I flip it over, I have to be very careful because this unit is actually very expensive and it's very rare. And I'll show you another unit too that has a completely different part than this unit has. Like, if I put the unit upside down, I'll let you see a detail. It's all flat screw, but with this bottom piece here, I want you to pay attention to this little bogie right here. It's a smaller kind of bogie. It didn't attach to anywhere here. And with this here, this is the first year that they came out. They switched out with the Mikado, and it goes for the other screws right here. But I'll show you what's different to this unit compared to this next unit. I'll show you. So in 1959, they introduced the Union Pacific Mikado. But what's completely different about this one is not because of the stripe or the naming or the ladder is the bottom piece, and I'll show you the connections side by side. I have to be careful here. So if you pay attention to this piece here, you see it's shorter and it's a little thing. But if you pay attention to this unit here, which I have to be careful, I'll put it in the light so you can see it. But if I flip this one over, you can see how long the piece is because Mantua had issues with this small bogie on the bottom right here, is because most of the time it will derail. So the Salva, they put a longer bogie so it can navigate curves without jumping off the rails. And it's completely different too on the bottom. This is 1960, 1959, and some other details also had changed too. But with this one, both of these are actually rare for collectors, and I have only one of each, but I do have a Tyco version, which I haven't showed it. But let me push these back, and I'll put this Pennsylvania back on the rail. And I don't want to do damage to this unit too, and I have a video coming up with this unit too. And from that same era is now we're entering in the Hudsons, known as the Pacifics. I've shown the other same unit, this one, but this is the older unit. This is the 1940 and like 1959 Royal Blue Hudson. This is a really famous locomotive from Tyco. And one other detail is it has the ladder that sticks out rather than molded. It's all metal, it's not plastic. And this unit's also really, really heavy too. And I didn't show this unit on YouTube, and I'll be posting another video in the future. And with this unit right here, there's a couple of things like one of the steps right here is sadly broken is because of the age, but I'll show you a little bit of up close. You see it right there, and here's up close for it. And this is 1959 too, the same year that the Union Pacific came out. But here's the bottom of it, and it goes for some of the screws here too. But some of the parts cannot be original to some of these units, but I don't know though. So I'm gonna put that right here. And there is that unit right there. And I'll feature this in a future video, which is be coming soon. And for the final of the big locomotives, aka the Macalas and Pacifics and Hudsons, here is the first year edition Southern Crescent Limited. And this one, it has the printing on here, and this is actually my second one that I have, and I'm trying to keep this in good shape, is because this is actually probably one of the rarest Pacifics that we have right now. I do have the box for it, but it's upstairs. But I'll show you one detail that makes this unit a little bit more hard to find. So in 1963 and 64, they introduced this unit, but with the first years, some of the early Hudsons have 4 screws, but about a couple years later, they switched the screws out and they put 5 screws underneath. Is because if I show you underneath, which I'm trying to be very careful with, it's a 4 screw unit, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why they added a 5th screw is because the motor is attached to one of these screws. So if you unscrew all these screws right here, the motor will fall out. So after during that year, they switched it out, so they put a screw right here and this other 4 screws right here, so you can disconnect the motor in a separate way. But with this one, this is actually a first year edition. It's actually very rare. I do have 2 of these, but both of them, they're 4 screw. I don't have a 5 screw unit. And this unit is also brand new too. And it has the other bogies here too. And it also has the moon shape. And this is also the other year where they stamped or put a stripe on it, which is also like really, really cool. And I'll put this unit right here. That's my teddy upstairs. He's just making noises. Not those other noises. I'm not gonna show them around. Nope, no. He's just singing with the dog. And with some other units, other honorable mention units is a rare Plymouth switcher, but with this one, this only appeared in one set in 1961, and it was a bridge builder set, but it's a little bit different. This is the Republic steel one. I do have a U.S. steel Plymouth switcher, which I featured with it pulling a lot of cars, but I have the caboose here with it, but this is not the caboose. I just make its caboose because the original caboose had a Republic steel nameplate, and it was a different kind of gray. It was like a stone tannish gray with the blue naming on it. I did have a chance to buy one, but it went up for quite a bit of money. I'm not gonna say the exact price because. But with another unit though is a double trolley unit. With all the other stuff, it was actually rare, but this one is a rare trolley is because in 19 1959 and 1960, it ended up doing a single and a double, known as a tandem. They're both connected. And one side is a motor and one side is another one to connect powers from here. But the reason why this is hard to find and this is a little bit unreliable, unlike with the Pennsylvania with the short bogie, is because on the trolley set, with this one motor here is dragging a lot of weight like behind it. It has so much wheel slip on the set. So in 1960, they ended up changing it so it has a double power unit. So only one motor here was powering it, but later on they added two. So both of the wheels are powered, so I can convert more power. But either way, I'm not going to be switching out. I'm just going to be keeping it the same. And this is a very rare couple Model 2, and I also posted a video on it like today. And for the final models I'm going to be showing you are the Civil War General and the Civil War General Passenger. With both of these with cannons, but these cannons are actually very hard to find. But these are some of the Civil War cannons I have. But with both of these units, yeah, I just had to show them because these are some of the truer steam locomotives that Tyco made. But with this one is actually a freight in general, which actually appeared in a couple on the last famous sets, but I showed it in another video. But with this one, I had to be careful when showing the passenger cars is because of a flag on the side of the cars, so I had to be careful of that. But with this one, it's the passenger one, and it's a really famous model too. And here's what the underneath of it looks like. The motor is always in the back here, which connects to a rod here, which connects to the engine, and it runs these two wheels right here, and it's a really famous model. But I don't have any Civil War sets, the blue and the gray. I don't have any of those, and I also don't have any of them with a smoker unit. Almost all my shifters have a smoker unit, but none of the 040s don't. But I haven't shown any shifter yet up close with the smoke, but I'll be showing you in the future. And for other couple add-on things, I'll show you a couple other things. I forgot to show you what the underneath bit of this. It's a 1961. It's all gray on the bottom. It's just like the other U.S. Steel one. And I need to find the right caboose for this because it's a Southern Pacific caboose, and a couple other engines are Southern Pacific. But I decided to put it anyway because I run a lot with this Pacific caboose. And I'll let you give all the details and the beauty of the Southern Crest in here, which I shown the set, and I bought the coaches for it too. And I also bought this one. It was also brand new too. It's never been used. And since lately, this has been a really good runner, and I also have two of these too with a different Coca-Cola. But yeah, I do have two, but I'm not gonna show them because. And one other final detail. But the Union Pacific for 1959, there's actually a couple of things. This is actually one more stronger units that I own in my collection, but this is the ones I most often use on really long trains because this one can pull a lot of cars. But there's actually another unit that I run, but it's actually a diesel. This is not a GP20. This is actually a Walters GP9, which I corrected myself in the last GP20 Tyco GP20s to the videos to the years, but I actually said the name wrong for this one. I said GP20 for this one, but this is actually a GP9, and this is also another strong unit. This is currently the strongest diesel in my collection that is actually not Tyco. I'm not going to be doing any long pulls with any Tyco units because I don't want to break any of the rubber bands on it. But this is the strongest steam locomotive Mikado that I have in my collection currently right now. And one other final thing with the cabooses for the Union Pacific engine, they're a little bit different to the other ones. So like here's the common version. It has the Union Pacific logo in the middle and has the number. And it's a gray bottom too, and it's a little bit of a plastic though, but still a good model. But with the original model, it's a little bit different. It has a smaller logo and it has the number on the bottom. But the reason why this is actually a original lighted caboose. Unlike with the newer one, it's a little bit different. The light bulb is actually here. And if I compare it side by side, you see a little bit of the difference here. And this is actually the more hard to find model. And this is the more of the common model. And this is the caboose that belongs with this unit too. But I bought this separate though, and I got this caboose. And with other couple final, I will show you all the trains that I showed you shown in the collection. This is for the final. So here are the cannons. Here's the rare train card I showed you. Here's the bobber. It's another bobber. It's another bobber. It's another bobber. And here's a final bobber. Here's all these GP20s I showed you. Here's the GP9. It's a little bit different. It's a stronger unit. I'm trying to correct myself in the last video, but I'll put this one back here. Here's the Only Outgo Super Spirit, the one with the gold foil logo. The 2K Pacific's one with the factory error. Here's a Chesapeake, Ohio. Older, but this is the newer. Here's the 1959 Baltimore in Ohio, the first year edition. Here's the common colors for the Atlantic East Coast, and here's the rare one, the darker. Here's the Pennsylvania Mikado. Here's the Union Pacific Mikado, the strongest one, the strongest Mikado in my collection right now. Here's the blue, the royal blue Hudson in the Pacific. I'm going to be showing this in the future video. Here's the Southern Crescent, which is a really beautiful model in my opinion. And here's the two cabooses I showed you in the last, the newer and the original. Here's my double power units. This one is gray bottom, black bottom, and gray bottom. All these three. Here's the most viewed unit on my channel. Here's a Civil Wars. Here's the limit switcher. Without the right caboose, I need to find the newer one, but I need to find the 1961. Here's the Prairie unit, Pennsylvania. I didn't show the Santa Fe just yet, but I'll show you in the future. And here's the final. Here's the trolley, like double pair. And these are some of the units that you need sometimes to find, or truly need to find. But the only issue is with the prices. Most of these units are like very expensive. Like currently, probably these two are probably the most expensive, or this one's probably the more expensive, the hard to find. But either way, with all these units on here, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video relating to the rare freight cars. Like here's a couple of rare freight cars in here, but either way, have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. See you later.